Hi, Pavel. Welcome on UBP Podcast.
Hi, Rachel.
The Minsk II agreement was signed a few days ago. How does it differ from the first one?
Well, the agreement itself is not much different from its first version, which was signed in September of last year. It's only a starting point for further steps by the parties to the conflict. The second agreement does describe in a bit of a more detail what political changes in Ukraine have to take place before control over its border with Russia is restored. Sadly, the first ceasefire did not hold for long, and if the second version is not followed by legislative changes in Ukraine that would appease the population of its eastern part, it may be broken as quickly as its predecessor. And in fact, judging by the news flow, during the last few days the war has been going on, even though the ceasefire was theoretically in force. However, some recent news do give signs of hope for peace. The rebels seem to have captured a strategically important town between Donetsk and Luhansk, and stated their willingness to finally pull the heavy weapons away from the demarcation line. So right now our base case scenario is for the situation to remain frozen as it is now until the government of Ukraine makes the real steps towards decentralization of the regions. The degree of power to be shifted to the regions, as well as the central government's plans related to the country's membership in NATO, will determine the future development of the situation in the east of the country.
How does this affect your outlook on Russian equities?
If we look at the chart of the MSCI Russia index, we'll see that investors apparently had been quite optimistic about the chances of the agreement being reached. The market appreciated by more than 25% in US dollar terms during the first half of February. Of course, this was supported by a 14% growth in the price of Brent and a stabilization of Russia's currency. By now, all of these positive developments should be in the price. In other words, if we do not see any more positive developments, I would not be surprised to see a short-term profit-taking.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe that a rebound can be sustainable?
Well, this is a good question. If we look over the longer term, for the Russian equity market to keep growing, the political situation in Ukraine has to improve further, and the ceasefire has to become permanent and sustainable. Only if this happens, and if the price of oil, of course, finds some kind of sustainable support at the current levels, will Russian equities have a chance to attract the attention of long-term international investors. And should the fragile peace in Ukraine fall apart, short-term speculative flows would leave the market as quickly as they came in. But let us hope for the best.
Thank you so much for your time, Pavel.
It was a pleasure.